Hey everybody out there in Facebook world, this is Two Dudes Reviewed. Right next to me is, once again, the wonderful Zach Watson.
Howdy, howdy.
And I myself am Michael Eaton. And I know last week we didn't have a review for you guys, but, you know...
What happened was I had a slight medical mishap, and the whole reason we couldn't do it is because I wasn't capable of driving the next day we had planned on initially having the review. So... Sunday I went to the ER, Monday I wasn't up for it, and so by the time I was up for being able to come back and get our reviews back on track, the week was just too hectic for us. So now, today, we actually did a double feature to get caught back up on our schedule.
And I just thank God that you're alright, and...
I mean, the medical mysteries are nothing new.
Thankfully it's nothing serious. Thank you, Shelby. Hey, Logan.
And so today, with our double feature, we saw Peanut Butter Falcon and It Chapter 2.
Now, I had already seen Peanut Butter Falcon with Abby and Joshua, and I wanted to take you to this because I wanted your initial thoughts on it, because I'm personally declaring it one of the best films of the year. And hands down.
Honestly, before seeing it and looking at the trailers and the synopsis, I was just tempted to make a joke saying, if I don't shed a tear during this film, it lost me. But after sitting down and watching it, I completely changed my tune. The movie, I thought, was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
The man that they had actually playing the Down syndrome person,
named Zach.
Yeah.
And he's playing a character named Zach.
And the way it worked was really well. It felt really genuine. The characters all gave top performances.
Yes.
And it flowed really well. Like, at first it kind of starts off with this whole little, almost, I want to say almost a generic adventure story of two people from opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, something that we've seen a million times in other films. But the thing is, what makes this film so much better than all of that is the performances. Like, Shia LaBeouf, my lord. Like,
he blew it out of the water.
Fantastic performance by Shia LaBeouf. One of the best of the year so far. And I know I rag on him a lot, mainly for his crazy antics in real life and the Transformer movies. But this right here, a great return for Shia LaBeouf in my eyes.
It proves that he still has the talent and the skill to get back into the acting world with proper roles and proper direction, because the movie from start to finish was phenomenal.
Yes, it was.
And honestly, I'd have to agree with you. It is by far one of the best movies we have seen yet this year.
Yeah, and probably one of the best films we've reviewed on this channel too.
Yeah, that's another one in the liked column.
Yeah, I'm obviously giving it thumbs up.
I got a thumbs up for it too.
Yeah. Also, I'm amazed that a lot of people don't point this out, but the cinematography in this is fantastic. It's like, I believe it's Louisiana, I think. It's like backwoods, the bayou.
I was gonna say it's more backwoods bayou stuff, so the exact location isn't really set in stone.
Yeah. Except
for the main destination being Florida.
Yeah.
That's all I really caught, because it was down the coast to Florida.
Yes, Shelby, even Stevens. But I will say this, Shia's performance in this makes Even Steven look like
Transformers.
Exactly. So I'm sorry if you all are Even Steven fans, but this blows Even Stevens out of the water. And
the cinematography was really good.
It was breathtaking a few times.
They had some really pretty scenery. Some times where you could just really sit there and just feel like you're with the characters, which made it really nice.
Yeah. And also, I will say, Dakota Johnson in this is a better step up for her than the 50 Shades movie, which unfortunately you have had to sit through. And I pray for this man, because he's had to sit through the 50 Shades films. And all you ladies out there who are wanting your boyfriends or husbands to see these films with you, pick something better for them, because they're not going to survive.
I would like to sit here and crack 50 different kinds of jokes to go along with the whole 50 Shades of Grey thing, but honestly, until he pointed it out to me, I didn't know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to some people, that's just like, well, actors and actresses are popping up all over the place, so that's not really that bad. But when I sat through all 3 50 Shades movies with my fiance,
Hey, Kurt.
only to not see her and recognize her as like, you're from 50 Shades. And I just sit here and think, now I've seen her in something, and then just blow it off as, whatever, it'll come to me later,
Yeah.
is just blows me out of the freaking water, because here she's got some acting chops that are actually pretty nice.
Yeah, she's really good in this.
Instead of her just being the pretty girl in 50 Shades.
Mm-hmm. And the chemistry that she has with Shia LaBeouf is just money. It's money.
It is quite believable that she and him actually get along when they're not fighting.
Oh, especially with her and the Down syndrome kid.
You can actually feel like she was trying to be a caretaker for him.
That kid was so freaking amazing.
He was really good with his role. I really appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I know sometimes some people will say it's hard to work with people of some forms of disabilities, but the performance this kid gave made it seem like he was just made for acting.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it also probably helps that they made his name the same name as the character, so that way...
Yeah, that way there's no confusion.
So, I mean, all in all, Peanut Butter Falcon is a really, really nice film. It's really warm, it's really touching.
And it really brings light back into Shia LaBeouf's career after many missteps. It's just so nice to see him come back and show us what he's truly made of.
And just, in general, it's a nice comeback to what people are lacking. Because nowadays, everything has to be politically correct and all this other hullabaloo. It's like, if you're going to make a movie, make a damn movie. If you want it to be good, put your heart and soul into it. The actors and actresses did. Clearly, the people who actually did the cinematography clearly did. And the writers of the script. My God, you could feel like they actually poured their soul into it.
This feels like real dialogue. This just doesn't feel like movie trailer quotes.
Right, like you got most movies nowadays is, oh no, dun dun, oh Lord, dun dun, and 50 other different quotes that they think are gonna
run, dun dun dun.
Right, like all these different quotes that you think are just gonna be, oh, gold. I put this in my script, so now I'm gonna make millions. No. This movie legitimately felt like you could walk in, sit down, and believe what's happening on screen is just somebody who just happened to sit in front of a tripod and talk. Yeah. It is phenomenal.
It really is. And I know we're getting close to the end of the year, but this is, it might
definitely.
I know. I mean, after a disappointing summer of film with crappy Disney remakes and horrible children's animated films, it is so refreshing, so wonderful that you and I got to see something so original but so basic and just so good for the soul.
Oh yeah. Now, however, let's flip the script from heartwarming to heart throbbing. Talking about It Chapter 2.
Yes, It Chapter 2. Oh wow, yes.
Oh my God, It Chapter 2.
You could already tell it's going to be a thumbs up from him. But for me, I'm still up in the air about it.
He hasn't seen the first one yet.
No. I know Abby has, but I have not.
He hasn't seen the first one yet.
I know. I have not been able to see the first.
Shame him.
I know, shame me, yes. But anyway, I mean, you don't really need to see the first one to fall. Are you sure?
Because the way their story arcs work is it's meant to be a 2-part film.
Yeah.
The story arcs start in the beginning when you first meet each individual character. You truly find out about them a little bit to where you feel connected with them. So when this movie came out and you finally got a chance to sit down, you're not feeling like you're walking into some sequel that's just there to be a sequel. You feel like you're picking up with your old friends, just like this movie started off with.
Speaking of picking up with old friends, basically what this film is, it's a continuation of the story of It by Stephen King. This is basically after they first defeat Pennywise the Clown, once again played by Bill Skarsgård.
Mad respect.
Yes. he is fantastic in this, but he's not the best Bill in this movie. But we'll get to him. We'll get to him. So anyway, basically what happens is one of the people who stayed in Derry, Maine after the events of the first film gets the entire loser club back together because it has returned. So they need to find a way to get rid of it once and for all.
And essentially, the way the movie worked was, I mean, it's like any other horror movie sequel. It's the cast returns and you find your main villain. Like, the best way to explain it is, think of it as a more slightly more terrifying version of some of the Freddy Krueger movies, or Nightmare on Elm Street if you want to be politically correct about it. Because one movie, you've got your main cast of teenagers. Yes, that was a slasher movie. Most of them have died, but you got your main person, like your final girl and all that survived. Well, in some of the sequels, she returns. Some of the other characters have returned, whether it's in a cameo or as reprising their role.
Yes, Joey.
It is almost 3 hours long.
It is almost 3 hours long. It is exactly 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Yep.
And I know we're gonna get into some spoilers, but I will say that is one of my biggest nitpick with this film is the running time for me. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it.
Honestly, I felt like the running time was right around, like, it didn't feel like it was slow for me. It felt right on pace, because 1 minute we're seeing the Losers Club sit down around the table, catching up like old times, and 20 minutes later we're watching the credits, and I'm just sitting here like Endgame. What did I just see? Oh!
I know, that's exactly what I thought. Now, I will say, this is not as scary as you would think it would be.
No, but I kind of want to put this in the same category as the campy slasher films from the 80s and 90s, because this had a lot of really clever comedy, surprising enough for being a horror film. And at a lot of times, you could see the cheese coming through, like this was meant to be a callback to cheesy horror films.
While still looking current.
Right, because, you know, if you use a ton of CGI in a movie, you're going to eventually notice, oh my god, this is all CGI.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look back at some of the old movies of the past that were in the horror genre, and they have a lot of crazy special effects, from practical to CGI and such, back when that stuff was still new and being modernized. This movie had what I'd call a perfect mix between the campiness and true blue scares. Because you've got your generic jump scares that are just meant to be, boom, in your face, in your face, in your face.
Yeah, that's a lot of them, but there are a few clever ones. Hey, babe. Hey, Garrett. Hey, Aaron. How you guys doing?
Now, I do have to say, one of my favorite parts about this movie, and yes, we will hit some spoiler territory with this because it is a almost 3 hour long film, but one of my favorite things about it, because I listened to the audiobook completely through and was prepared for this, because thinking we were going to be able to do it last week before the medical mysteries happened, so I was prepared far in advance for it. And so when I sat down and listened to the audiobook, there was this giant lumberjack statue, and it came to life and attacks one of our main characters. I was so hyped once I realized that was going to be in the Chapter 2 movie. And I personally feel like it was brought to the big screen in as beautifully way as possible.
You should have seen the big smile he had on his face.
If you ever see the trailer for this movie before you go see it, and you see Bill Skarsgård's giant smile when he's in the mirror house, yeah, mine was twice that size when I saw the lumberjack coming out to play.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was so hyped. Because you knew in the first film they were setting it up for the big lumberjack. In the book, if you've read or listened to the book, you knew the lumberjack was coming. When I realized he was coming, I got so hyped because of the fact that it's been so long since we've seen something actually terrifying. Now, I'm not going to say it was the most terrifying thing in the movie, but that was by far one of my favorite scares.
Yes. And I agree with you on that. But for me, the best thing in this movie, Bill flippin' Hader. Bill Hader is by far the best person in this film for me, because he was so funny, and yet he was such a great actor in this.
Oh God, he was unbelievable.
So good. I mean, he was emotional, he was funny, he was cynical. It's such a great personality you want in a nerd.
The entire time, from start to finish in this movie, just like It Chapter 1, the character Richie, he had all the one-liners. He had all the best satirical jokes. He had some of the best comebacks when he finally toughened up in certain cases. And all around, he was a really fun character to watch, because if you're going to go hunt a killer clown that's attacking you with crazy visions, of course you're going to fight back with some quips. And he delivered in full on that.
Yes, so good. Bill Hader, I mean, he's up there with Shia LaBeouf as one of my top favorite performances of the entire year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like James McAvoy in this, and Jessica Chastain, and
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. I mean,
he did phenomenal work.
He's like close to our age, and yet he is always terrifying whenever you see him as Pennywise.
Now, see, one thing I found funny was I was reading some articles online one day about the movie, and it was that in one of the scenes, you see Pennywise's eyes go opposite directions. And I think it was Bill Hader who asked about that, what kind of special effects they used.
Yeah.
And he ran into Bill Skarsgård asking that question about trying to figure out how they did it. And they're just sitting there talking, no special effects. Bill Skarsgård just does it for him and freaks him out on set.
Yeah, because Bill Skarsgård has an actual lazy eye, he's able to do that by himself just to scare people.
And it's phenomenal, because one minute you're thinking, well, all right, it's a modernized clown. All right, whatever. But the way they do it, the way the whole movie worked, it was phenomenally done. Yeah, at times the writing could have been seen as a little hokey.
And sometimes the effects were like,
obviously.
Yeah, we see what you're doing.
But at the same time, like I said, I feel like personally it could be seen as a love letter to horror movies of the past, because you've got your cheesiness in terms of how obviously fake some of your special effects are. But you've also got a little bit of hokey writing, but you also have that all-encompassing feel of some of the characters actually being relatable.
Right.
Like, in the original movie, you have each of these characters coming together for some reason, because of some form of, I don't want to say abuse, but that's technically how it's labeled in the movie and the book.
Yep.
You've got Mike, who is in the movie is seen for being different, but instead it's supposed to be racial slurs. You got Richie, who's an outcast for certain reasons in the movie.
Yeah, obviously Beverly.
You got Beverly, who, if anybody has seen the first movie, you know she's got an abusive father who has been implied to be sexually abusive towards her.
And now in this, she has an abusive husband.
And then you've got Eddie, who is a germaphobe because of his mom.
He's still a germaphobe in this.
You've got Bill, the leader, who was stuttering Bill.
He still has it, but it sort of comes and goes.
It comes and goes based on the fear, because of, you know, movie logic. You got Stan Uris, the man himself, who was always seeing himself as the weakest link of their group. And there was one more. I think I covered them all.
Yeah, no, that's all of them.
I was saying, there was like 6 or 7.
There was like 6 of them.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think you covered them, all of them.
Point is, each of the Losers Club members had a reason to be claimed as an outcast, to be claimed as, you know, the Losers Club. And each one could be relatable for each different situation. Like, somebody in an abusive relationship can feel like they relate to Beverly because she's in an abusive relationship. There was Ben. Ben's the one I'm forgetting.
Oh yeah, Ben.
Ben in the movies was bullied heavily because he was fat.
Yep, he was fat.
So in this time,
he's a beefcake.
Oh,
they make him a stud in this.
They've made him hit If anybody has seen Drake and Josh and know Josh Peck, you know how hard puberty hit him? Oh, yep. Puberty hit this man twice as hard.
Oh, yeah.
Now, To go along with all of that, though, there was just one moment alone in the movie that I personally really enjoyed. And this is going to seem a little demented, but the reason I enjoyed it was because it shows the darker side of some of these characters' fears. And it was when the Losers Club was trying to confront Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
And in the mirror, you see Pennywise carving on one of the characters' stomachs.
Carving on Ben's stomach.
Right. I was trying to not give spoilers as to who it was.
Oh, it's fine. It's been out for weeks.
But when you see him carving on one of the characters' stomachs, it's what he writes. He's writing "Home at Last," because that whole line you hear in the trailer of "For years I've waited for you," and that whole monologue that Bill Skarsgård gives as Pennywise, from start to finish, you feel like this was meant to be a true showdown.
Mm-hmm.
And by God, did the movie deliver.
Yeah, I gotta say, that climax was so fun.
That climax was both
It was so fun.
dark and twisted, but at the same time, so freaking grand. Like, I'm almost wanting to put it above Endgame's climax. And that really says something, because Endgame had a phenomenal climax. Yeah, to me it was that great. Then again, I'm a horror movie buff. I love to get the shit scared out of me.
What did we talk about?
That's still only 2 swear words. Do I have to put a PG-13 for language in here? Because if so, I'll just start carrying a PG-13 sign in my car. Just, hey, PG-13, click, done.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
All right, fine, I'll find a way.
I'm kidding.
I'll find a way to get one.
I'm kidding.
But, point is, I love my horror movies. I love being scared when I'm watching a movie because it invokes an emotion. And sometimes horror can be some of the most powerful ways of storytelling.
Yeah, for me, that is the thriller genre. I love thrillers. I love suspense. Like, especially when me and Abby saw the movie Split a few years ago.
I still need to see that movie.
It is so good, and James McAvoy is fantastic in that.
See, I need to see
I mean,
Split.
he's really good in this too, but
I need to see Split, Unbreakable, and then the newest one.
Glass.
Yep.
Yeah, me and Abby didn't see that.
I need to see all 3 of them because I've heard great things about that franchise. But, point is, to me personally, one of the best scares in It Chapter 2 was the lumberjack coming to life, because the way it worked, if anybody has seen any horror movie ever that involved an inanimate object in some way, shape, or form, the first thing that you're going to expect is, well, you're going to look at it, it's going to be gone, they're going to recut the camera to where you're supposed to look, and it's going to be there with a jump scare, whether it's a loud scream or a thud in the soundtrack. But the way they did it made it feel fresh, surprising enough, for as fake as it obviously was.
Yeah.
Because the whole setup for it was Richie was playing this game in an arcade theater area.
Street Fighter.
Yeah, he was playing Street Fighter in like this old theater arcade place. And he was playing it against some kid who was about to leave, but he offered to play one more game since he had one last token. The kid thought he was trying to hit on him.
Yeah, that was weird.
And so, as soon as he saw his cousin, who happened to be, you know, their primary bully antagonist, whatever you want to call him, the kid, Richie, got, you know, bullied and pretty much ran out of there because they thought he was trying to, you know, flirt and try to date said cousin of the bully. So when he goes to the park, he's upset, obviously, because he's being bullied. Whether he actually is gay or not, he's still being bullied for it, so he was obviously upset. But then he looks up, and the lumberjack is gone. Just nowhere to be seen. This giant 30-foot statue, if not bigger, is just gone. We recut, and somehow it snuck to the side of him, got on all fours, and looked at him menacingly, only to roar and shoot bats out at him. Like, that was one of the most intense moments of the film. And then you're watching him run from it as it's right behind him and just barely missing with each attack, like it's playing with him.
As fake as it was decent looking. as fake as it was.
For as obviously fake as it was a thrill ride because you're still sitting there thinking, oh no, is he actually going to get hit? Is he actually going to be hurt?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you knew, like, nah, he's one of the main characters. They wouldn't do that to us. Would they? It was just one of those moments of intensity. Like, you knew it was fake. You obviously knew it was fake.
And I obviously knew it wasn't going to kill him.
Right. You knew it wasn't going to do anything major.
Right.
But at the same time, you're still feeling your heart beat at an incredible rate. Like, to me, that is what it's supposed to be. And honestly, given enough time to watch, like, as soon as this comes out on Blu-ray, I'm buying both. It 1 and It 2. Because honestly, you can look at this movie and say that it's about overcoming your demons, and you can find a deep meaning in the movie besides just, oh, hey, this group of teenage kids and then eventual adults just come fight a demonic clown.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually some really good themes and different topics. Because each of these characters had to overcome their demons in their own way. And it was really a powerful thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good metaphor for overcoming your fears and battling your demons. It's just done in a very creative way, as only Stephen King could bring us.
Yeah. Thankfully, I was reading something earlier today that said Stephen King has no plans of retiring anytime soon. So, as long as that man's still writing, his books will still be turned into movies, and depending on who's on the wheel of it,
because he has another one coming out called Dr. Sleep.
I can't wait. I've been listening to that on audiobook too. I've also listened to The Shining, which is the prequel to Dr. Sleep, and so far, I am hyped.
Yeah.
I have seen the trailers that they've been releasing for it, and I just cannot wait. Hey, Ariel. How you doing, sweetheart?
Hey, Ariel.
But I cannot wait for that one.
Obviously, from hearing his reaction, you'll tell he's giving this film 2 thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it's...
Again, he hasn't seen chapter 1.
I have not seen chapter 1, but after seeing this, I will say there are good moments. Bill Hader is amazing.
He is.
Bill Skarsgård is still terrifying.
Oh, Bill Skarsgård. If I see that man, I don't know if I'd want to hug him, punch him, or run.
I mean,
maybe a combination of the two.
Is it weird if I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard and I saw him walking down the street, I would ask him if he could do that smile for me?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it'd be weird, but at the same time, I feel like he would do it just because it's like his signature smile.
Yeah. That's what's so scary about it. He's a good-looking man, but he's so naturally terrifying.
See, I feel like if I ever met him in person, I'd want to sit down and have a cup of coffee with him, but I'd be afraid that in the middle of the conversation, he's going to switch to his Pennywise voice, and me just being the same scaredy cat that I am, I'll flip the table, spill hot coffee on us both, and try to run.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be an embarrassing moment of, oh my God, I am so sorry. You just scared the crap out of me is all.
Why would you spill hot coffee on me?
Right, like, and that's when I'm out the door like, no! No, Pennywise, no!
Wouldn't you rather see my movie?
Like,
you would love me in It Chapter 2.
But the funny thing is it's just... all in all, the actors gave it their all, and you could feel that in some of these more intense scenes.
Yes.
But
we're not gonna give any more spoilers, but we will say if you are a fan of the horror genre, especially It, you will like this film.
Oh, I loved this film. Now, granted, there were some stuff they could have done better. There was some stuff they changed from the book, which some of it I'm happy with.
Thank God they left.
No.
What?
We're not mentioning it. We're not mentioning it.
Because you know, right?
We're not mentioning it.
Oh, Lord, they're curious. They'll look it up.
Exactly. You let them poison their own minds.
Exactly.
Point is, there was some stuff they changed from the book to the movie that I'm happy with. There was some stuff that they changed that I was, alright about.
There's some good practical effects, but there are also really crappy CGI effects in this.
That's to be expected when the movie is chock full of CGI.
Chock full of CGI, a little too long of a running time. I mean,
you had to expect it,
I think
though.
it would have been a good, 2 hours, 15 minutes.
See, the thing is, though, they would have cut out a lot of that character development because you have to think they have a lot of that development in there, and if they were to cut back on the running time, they'd have to cut back on how long it takes them to actually conquer their demons, thus reducing the actual message of the film.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I can see where some people would say that there's too much of a running time on it, but then again, the same people that have to sit through It Chapter 2 with the 2 hours and 15-minute runtime also sat through Avengers Endgame, which was right around the same amount of time, if not slightly longer.
I believe it was 3 hours and 4 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's without that's without it being the director's cut.
Exactly.
So, if anybody wants to complain about It Chapter 2, I say look at Endgame and then come fight me.
Yeah.
Because, in fact, honestly, I could have seen this movie being 3 hours easily.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there is so much more they could have done. They could have expanded that final climax from what felt like 20 minutes to even longer, just because each character had to overcome something all before the true final fight. Like, the best way to explain the climactic final battle of the film is like, think of an RPG where each of your characters is separated and they each get like their most powerful skills, their most powerful weapons, and most powerful armor sets that you can find in the story mode of the game. And then you all meet up right before your climactic final boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
The epicness of which you're feeling because you feel so empowered and you're hearing this amazing soundtrack as your blood is pumping through your veins at such a high intensity.
Yeah, I would never take Abby to this film.
Oh.
I would never.
See,
I'm sorry, but...
my fiance is a big horror movie buff like I am.
Yes, she is.
She loves horror movies just as much as I do, even though I think I like them more.
Didn't she say that she wanted to see this with us?
She already saw it in campus.
She already saw it. She already saw it before you did.
She saw it before me. And so, when it comes to horror movies, I know easily. If he becomes too chicken to do it, all I gotta do is ask Ariel, and she'll be more than happy to come along.
Yeah, I can do many kinds of horror. I just can't do like satanic stuff, that kind of thing.
That's the best kind of horror, though.
Dude, you do know we're Christian, right?
Doesn't mean I can't enjoy a good horror film.
Oh my lord. You can enjoy a good horror film. I just don't want to. I don't care to watch satanic stuff.
I mean, not every horror film's satanic.
I know that. Those are the kinds of horror films I actually like.
I mean, the last time I've seen a satanic horror film, I don't even think I've seen one of those. Huh. The last time I've seen any kind of horror film that had anything to do with anything close to a satanic ritual, technically, I don't even think... No?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
And it was by accident.
Yeah, I know. I still need to get caught up on that one. The closest thing to a ritualistic horror film that I've seen is maybe like Ouija or Conjuring.
Mm-hmm. Something
that used a Ouija board, sphere board, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, Michael Panicola?
So, I mean, that's really the only time I could think of having a horror movie that had anything to do with a ritual.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I did not hate this film, nor did I love this film. But I loved it. I will say, if you are a horror buff, you love Stephen King, and you love getting your heart pumping, this is the film for you.
Honestly, out of the two movies we saw today, I loved them both.
I like them both too, just for different reasons.
I mean, clearly I'm not gonna like it for the same reason I like Peanut Butter Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut Butter Falcon was heartwarming. It was not heartwarming. But at the end of the day, I give both movies 2 thumbs up.
As you say this, I don't think I've done this, but on It Chapter 2, I'm gonna twist my thumb. I'm gonna go thumbs up. Because it's something I have to respect.
There is a craft to it.
There is a lot of things to respect about this kind of filmmaking. For one, you get your heart pumping, you get the excitement and the great payoff of a huge relief.
Now, granted, I wish we had more practical effects in this one, but for what we got, it was really nice.
So, basically, overall, a good night of the films, for once.
Yeah, for once, instead of having a movie we hate and want to rip into, we actually had movies that we ripped into for good reasons.
Yep. 2 really good films for very different reasons. So, overall, I give Peanut Butter Falcon and It Chapter 2 a great big thumbs up.
You heard it. For once, we actually have a double feature where we both enjoy both movies.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. With that being said,
would you like to do a little bit of what we have coming up? Because there's some good stuff that we have coming up. Because this guy, Mr. Watson, is actually gonna start reviewing Game of Thrones.
Yep. Pretty soon, once I'm getting a little bit more free time, I'm gonna be looking into doing review of Game of Thrones. Now, granted, the whole stigma of the show being over is still there. People are still scorned by the ending of the final season, but now that the whole show has ran its course and it's kind of, as many would say, outdated as what we see on TV nowadays, I think now's be a good time to kind of look back at it and see if there's anything we can look back at it and really appreciate. So what I'm looking into doing is either doing an episodic review. So every week I'll try to sit down and watch an episode and do a small review based on that episode. Or I'm going to try to do season reviews and do like a retrospective over the course of the season.
So we are going to actually be putting up a poll to figure out how you want Zach to review Game of Thrones. Do you want him to do it episode by episode, or do you want him to do it season by season? We'll make a poll later on in the week, and we'll have your voices heard. Which one do you want him to do?
And then for the other show that I'm trying to finish developing, it's going to be diving deep into some shows and movies and stuff like that, and looking at some of the stuff that happens medically and seeing if anything of it, whether it's a medication or a disease or something along those lines, is even possible nor in the realm of possibility in general. And actually, due to the release of the trailer for a new show on Crypt TV's YouTube channel, there's actually more stuff coming out that makes this whole little adventure way bigger. Because a lot of times it's the horror movies that have it. So this will be like, I don't know, the horrors of medicine or medicinal horror. Like I said, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get a name for it, and we're going to try to work from there. That one's going to take longer to develop because we'll need a better place to record, because a car ain't going to be the best for it.
A car isn't going to work for much longer.
Because what we're going to look into doing, at least for that show at least, is finding a place that I can use like a studio where I'll have either a whiteboard or a chalkboard and something to write on to make it a bit more visually appealing. And something we would like to do is eventually grow to the point where we can afford our own studio. Granted, that's a very long way out.
That is a very, very long way.
That is a super long way out.
But it's definitely something we would like to do. And also, his amazing projects are not the only thing we have coming up.
Nope, that ain't.
Nope. Also, I mean, I just announced this today to you. In November, we will actually be attending the Route 66 Film Festival in Springfield. So we are going to check out some independent films made by local filmmakers and upcoming creators, and yeah, we're gonna get to see some new talent for the first time.
It'll either be people that want to stick to their small indie budget films, and it'll be people who could one day be making the big time movies that we see in the theaters now. And if we're lucky, we might get to expand our group of creators.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be looking into rearranging my work schedule so we can be sure to attend that. And I mean, if you want to catch us there,
yeah,
we'll be there.
We'll actually be live streaming from it. And also, I have a series that I'm wanting to look at. It's a Netflix show. I'm not going to tell you what it is, though.
I feel like I have a feeling of what it is.
Yeah, you have a feeling of what it is, but sooner than later, I'm going to let all of you know what it is. But overall, we have a lot coming up.
We have a lot in development.
And a lot of big steps we're going to take. And plus, we've reached milestones. We have like 113 followers now. And so far, we got 12 subscribers.
Nice.
Which is good because we started this YouTube channel last month. So thank you all so much for sticking with us. It means so much to us. And this is so much fun getting to do this. And we're going to continue to put out great content, put out new content, as well as a few surprises every now and then.
Yeah.
So overall, y'all, a great time at the movies. Both movies, thumbs up from both of us. So tune in next week for our review of Rambo: Last Blood.
God, that just looks so good.
Oh, absolutely. So until next time, y'all, I'm Michael Eaton.
And I'm Zach Watson, and we're
this-
Two Dudes Review.
And we'll see y'all next week.